You gotta bring those blocks down though.
I don't want to carry anything. I will not be carrying anything. For my height. Oh, that's a short person joke. You really? Move. This man carries a bag of frozen burritos.
Listen, when you grow up poor, okay?
Luna! Look at that tail.
Let's not talk about
Where I go?
Can I bring my girl?
Why are you squeezing her?
Ask Jesse. Ask Jesse if you can come to Block Talk.
We're gonna go hard
You
no
gotta
on
kiss
that
him
one.
like you kiss me.
Veto.
He'll let you.
Ew.
Close, and then like check. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you get like a chart like that.
So real Irish coffee, you have the coffee in there, the whiskey, and then
So we're redoing Block Talk. And I know, the first one, it was a little...
raw or in a bet or in a whip.
Ew!
Alright?
Wait a minute, hold on. You can't do that.
But we're gonna redo it this time. Brian couldn't be here because he's doing his little mental
Wait,
health
hold
thing.
on, just so everybody knows, we don't do this on purpose. Like this is organic. Right?
Full disclosure.
Yeah, this is not like
First
a
one
twinning,
to be in public. with
Yo,
the
actually,
students.
oh,
like big one, little one, like nah.
Bring me your laptop, darling. Oh, truffle pig mode.
just kidding.
Okay, so we're redoing Block Talk, and the first question that I'm going to be asking both Jesse Irizarry and Alexander Hall.
Last name, right? Oh, I knew Alex was the business partner for me. The first time he wrote my last name, he got it right. He spelled it right. I was like, this man's attention to
Damn, that's
detail.
all it took.
The first question I have for Mr. Man is going to be, what made you open a real gym and not a blah 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 gym,
Blah,
a
blah,
real
blah.
gym?
Let's put it that way. I never actually wanted to be a gym owner. I wanted to work with other people to make my own like strength and conditioning, powerlifting, weightlifting programs and stuff like that, and just be an independent coach, like pay rents through other gyms or other facilities. At the very least, I wanted to like, you know, co-own a gym, but not have. See, this is one. Own a gym, but I tried it with multiple opportunities and they all didn't work out.
So you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna open a gym.
Basically, nothing else existed like it, and I couldn't find it, and I couldn't find anybody who would work with me to fulfill my vision. That's what I wanted, but the idea of gyms never appealed to me. I never enjoyed spending a lot of time in gyms. I was a college strength coach, which means I spent like 20 hours a day in a weight room. We don't call it a gym, right? But that was my background. Like I came from athletics. I didn't come from like, oh, I'm just gonna be like a gym bro.
When was the switch where you were like, I don't want to necessarily open and run a gym, but I want to have a space? Like, when was the switch when you're like, okay, I'm just gonna have to do this myself?
When I basically attracted like a small gym's worth of members who were loyal to me.
Yeah.
And I opened the original JDI with like 35 members, right? So they were all people that I was coaching small groups for either Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, or back then I had like 6 jiu-jitsu people that came like almost every day. But I didn't want to spend a lot of money. I had a business partner that was somewhat of a silent partner, but he was definitely the more financial side of everything. I didn't want to be in debt to him. I didn't want to be in debt to anybody else. I didn't want to take out a loan. I didn't want to do anything like that. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna find like the most bare bones equipment I can find. And it really was that. Like it was like a closet sized gym. I got decent bars because Olympic weightlifting power squat stands were not great at all.
We just got rid of the last one
about
about 3 minutes ago.
My whole idea was never to, you know, start with a big investment and then work from there. It was always to build up what I had as little as I can, then reinvest that money and all that stuff. And that's basically what I did until we got to a point where it's like, we can't really grow anymore unless we do actually spend more money.
And then Alex came on.
And then Alex came along.
How did you do your thing?
So I'm saying I found JDI through a similar experience as Jesse had in creating JDI, right? So I actually came in, I said, I want to open a gym. Now I hadn't had the same experience in gyms as Jesse had. I hadn't been in different gyms to say like, oh, I hate gyms. Like, you know, I mean, you guys know my backstory, but you know where I worked out, right? I remember it was a conversation at a coffee shop me and Jesse had, and Jesse's like, you know, sort of reluctantly asking me if I would be interested in buying in. And then I was like, are you asking me like if I want to buy in? And he's like, yeah. And I was like,
You guys had
hell
that in a
yeah.
coffee shop?
Yeah.
Coffee shop.
It was actually a hostel, coffee
hostel.
shop, whatever. It was this really cool place in Long Island City. The Local, it was called, right?
Yeah, the Local.
It was like a hostel on top, and then a bar at night, but then it was like a coffee shop. So what I thought was unique about you was that you were in line with where it was like it wasn't about the barbell. It was about bringing this thing to everybody, right? And about like expressing yourself in like a physical way, right? Where it's like this is about movement. It's not about like some kind of like rigid idea of like what exercise is, right? Like, and that's what I brought, because again, like I didn't want a gym because that wasn't what I was about. Bringing this idea of like team and sport and all that stuff to regular people who maybe had done it in the past or maybe even hadn't, right? And that's why I was like initially successful and why I saw an opportunity, because I was like, all right, these people are being, you know, drawn to CrossFit because they miss being a part of like a team, or you know, some type of like sport, or they never had that and they know that there's some kind of like desire to express themselves physically and like join with other people.
Is that people wanted, it's a community that people really wanted, right? And
Right.
the strength training community, and it's all of the fringe benefits that come with strength training, right?
Right.
Like I tell people all the time, like I never realized I started lifting weights because I wanted to look good, right? That was it. I wanted a six pack, which has faded over the years. I wanted to look good. I wanted to be strong, and that was it. Like that was my sole reason. But then you start doing it, and you start realizing that you develop a routine, you develop habits, you develop good habits, right? Like all of these benefits come from it. Your mental health, like you can have all the problems in the world, and then you go in and lift, and you come out, and you feel good, right? You don't care about it. You don't care about all this stuff that seems so important to you, right? Like those benefits, there's stuff that people don't talk about, but like you experience as a person who's in it, right? And all of that is a part of what really building this community is about.
Right, exactly. Like, all right, this isn't just for like one type of person, right? Like I have, you know, I started lifting weights because I wanted to be Batman, right? Like, so that was my motivation, right? But behind that, right, as silly as it sounds, the idea was to be as like physically competent as possible. I thought that, all right, if I'm physically competent, then I'll be competent like in other areas of my life. I remember thinking that at like a very young age, because I didn't grow up with a lot of very small age. Because I didn't have a lot of friends, right, and I had a stutter, right, and so I wasn't very confident in who I was. But then I was like, all right, like I can actually change something about me, like within this realm, then I can change everything about me, right? But a lot of other people experience, especially in like New York, right, a lot of other people experience success in other areas, be like, oh, like I made a lot of money, I'm this, I'm that, blah 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 blah, but their physical life isn't there, right? And so, you know, you can't be a complete human being without that. So it's like I saw college athletes with this sense of, you know, calm and understanding about who that they were. I was like, all right, how do I bring that to other people, right? But like you were the one who like saw that better than like a lot of other people. You know?
Yeah, and I was dieting one time for just for myself, right? I wasn't doing a show or anything, but I was dieting, and I was like, I realized that everything else in my life, as I was keeping track of that, started like to be ordered, right? Like everything was ordered just the way that I was counting my macros and everything, right? So I'm like, holy shit, like this really has like transferable, you know, whatever, you know what I mean? You guys know what I mean? Transferable
energy.
Skills.
Transferable.
Whatever.
Why? I have a question. Why don't you like dogs?
Why don't I like dogs? Because I have kids. Like what this is
because naturally, if you have kids, you wouldn't want dogs.
It's very simple to understand.
Like I'm not gonna even argue that. I agree.
Very simple to understand.
Kids are a lot. I feel I don't have them. Favorite lower body movement?
Is that a joke?
No.
Ambulation.
What?
Okay.
It's ambulation.
I'm also over here like, what just happened?
My favorite lower body exercise is squat. Period.
Why do you like squat?
I feel like nothing's like it. So there's nothing gives you the same feeling as a squat. Like I've never been.
Like you're gonna shit your pants.
I've never been a great squatter.
It's
like
a pelvic floor issue. I told you about that.
I'm either gonna pee my pants, shit my pants. I'm gonna die under pounds of weights and crushed.
Did you ask me a question about why squat is my favorite exercise? Do you really want to know the answer?
You said it.
No, I didn't.
What was the answer?
Yeah, I did. I started. But you know I go off on tangents. So,
Hence why I'm
to
here.
continue. Question. This is your job, Priscilla. Your job is to ask questions.
Give us one more at least, and then we'll call it there.
Heavy sled pushes or
She went back into the whole exercise room. She was one who
What
said,
she said to get away from.
We shouldn't
What
do
she
that.
said to get away from.
what I
She's
said.
trying to sabotage us.
this is what happens. This is what happens.
I didn't say that. You said that.
Go ahead.
And then the second question could be training related. We should do a training question.
Okay.
Training questions all the time. Like training questions are good, but I think what I was saying earlier is like I feel like people don't necessarily like you could get all that information, right? Like yes, all the information is available doesn't mean that we don't need to spit it out, but at the same time, it's like are people watching us because they want to know what's the best rep range for hypertrophy, or are they watching us because they care about what we're doing in here?
They're watching us because you're handsome. Come on, let's just be real about this. Why'd you then decide to bring like Priscilla along and stuff as our partner? Because you had more like day-to-day interaction then.
Something that I value in people is action, right? And is not just like coming up with a bunch of ideas, because everybody has ideas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, and I think that this may have been something that you saw in me too, is that I was there all the time. I was ready. I was working. So she showed me that. She was there all the time. She was ready to work. She was ready to do what she had to do, and she would have these ideas. But I remember, the website is a perfect example. She told me the website was shitty. I took it like low key a little bit personally, right?
Yeah, he
and
did.
I was like, all right, cool. Well, we put a lot of work into that, right? We made it something. If you think it can be better, do it. That's what we did. She made it better. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, let's go with it, right? I can't emphasize that enough. Like, in looking for partners and looking for people to work with, is like action is worth 10 times more than a good idea, right? Everybody has good ideas, but the good idea in combination with making that idea happen.
Yeah. You know what? Like one thing that I think that you saw, like, and you've mentioned this about like me, and this is why you give other people like the same opportunities and stuff like that. It's like, all right, somebody has an idea, you say, all right, run with it, right? Okay. But like you in your head, and I did the same thing. It's like in your head, it's like, all right, did they follow through with it? Did they get it done actually in like a decent time frame? And is it good after that, right? So it's like, you know, there's so much talk about like hard work and like, you know, they'll be like, all right, you know, like action. It's like, yeah, action, but sometimes people just suck. Like honestly, like they just don't get it completely done. One thing I saw like with her is like she got it done and she got it done fast, but not only fast, like it was done well. Like she actually like completed it got it 100%, and then like but did a good job with it, right? And a lot of people like.
I think this goes back to like another just a perspective also of ownership, because you know Priscilla came on as an owner after we saw that she could produce and she was behind this business, she was ready to do. She came in as an owner. It's like another conversation about equity too, right? It's like sometimes giving up some ownership is better for everybody. A lot of business owners want to headlock the position that they have with ownership, and somewhat understandably, but the other is like, that's not the experience that I had with you, right? When I came in, you gave me the liberty to do what I thought was going to grow the business, and gave me an incentive to do it even before it was equity, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we like that. That's why I feel like it's so important philosophically, right? For like in the position of an owner is to offer people like an incentive to be here and to want to grow and to want to be better, because it makes all of us better.
Yeah.
Would that be your advice to business owners? Don't
Cautiously.
be greedy.
Oh yeah, always don't be greedy, but cautiously on giving up equity, because we made a mistake giving up equity too. and giving up equity in the wrong ways is like by valuing the wrong things.
I feel like that's where like a lot of these younger gym owners and fitness people get lost and stuff. Is that they think like as soon as they like open their gym that they need to be like, you know, Instagram famous and like YouTube famous. Like I wasn't even in like New York, like no one knew who I was, right? But I did something that was like different. Like despite what anyone says, there were no barbell gyms before we opened, right? This is something different. He's actually coaching people like like in groups, like what college strength and conditioning was supposed to be, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. And people got excited about that, right? So it's like, you know, everyone thinks in terms of, all right, I have this many followers on Instagram, this is gonna equal this much revenue in my business. That's not always true.
I think I'm a good example of that,
Yeah.
right? Like my relative to like everybody else, like the way that followers work, like
Right.
my following is shit, right? But I got a few dollars, you know what I'm saying? Because I put that work in, you know.
Put some
So
more in here for him. That's what
it isn't real life. And while having a tremendous following on Instagram personally or through your business is great, guess what? I only need 150 members at each one of my gyms to make money. We got two, right? That's 300 members total, right? So I could have 100,000 followers. If I don't have those 300 members,
Right. And most of those people, before they joined, they weren't following the top powerlifting, weightlifting Instagram accounts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
no doubt.
Well, regardless of all that social media hate, you should still follow us.
Nah, you should. Forget what I said.
Like,
Follow us
comment,
on Instagram.
share, do the subscribing thing. Apparently now you also have to put notifications to the bell.
Put the phone on silent.
Yeah, put your phone on silence. You know, we should have a little intro where it's like the movie theater.
Can we let Serge rest his shoulders?
Let's Serge rest his shoulders.
Serge, rest your shoulders, my man.